Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Newcastle podcast. It is me, your host, Nicola. Sorry, I'm having a giggle because if anyone's watching, Joe's daughter has just walked through the door as we've started recording.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. That leads me nicely into who's my guest. It is the girls are gone rogue again. We are on our own. It's Joe. How are you, my honey?
I'm good. It's been a while since I've seen you, man. It's nice to be back on, though.
I know. So for everyone listening, obviously we've had the international break, which has been 2 weeks of obviously international break. Prior to the international break, I don't know if anyone heard, but Newcastle won the Carabao Cup, so it came at a great time, so we could celebrate that. And the last podcast that me and Joe done, the actual last podcast that we done was 2 days after the win. And that's been it. We've been MIA ever since because obviously international break. I had a birthday in between that and turned 30 and have just been celebrating ever since.
Aww.
And Joe's been in the pub. I'm joking.
That's true. No, it's pretty apt, to be fair. I was celebrating your birthday for you. That's
exactly
what I've been doing.
I agree. So the boys have been running the fort, holding the fort while we have been away. But we should be back to normal probably now until the end of the season, which is good to know.
Let's hope so, yeah.
So the boys have managed to do a little a review of the last sort of 2 weeks, how we're feeling going into the rest of the season. We've got 8 games left now. So I thought we could start this podcast off by giving our 2 pence of how the last 2 weeks have been being a Newcastle United fan. Because it's been blooming marvellous.
Hasn't it just?
So I thought the first part, for the first sort of 8 minutes, we can just touch on that. Because we haven't had a chance to really talk about it. How are you feeling after the most bizarre 2 weeks of being a Newcastle United fan? Because I still can't believe it, to be honest.
I know. It's a weird one, isn't it? And
yeah.
To be fair, you've just kind of hit the nail on the head. It timed perfectly with the international breaks. It kind of gave us that time to partially let it sink in. But then it's also been bizarre being away from the football as well. So it's been like 2.5 weeks since we played a game. Because as we've discussed a million times over, we're really not that bothered about England. Even though, Dan Burn played for England, but so very, very big thing in the Newcastle camp. But in all jokes aside, we all love Newcastle. We all want to watch Newcastle play. So It was great to be back in church last night. But it's just been a bizarre time, hasn't it? Like,
crazy.
We've won the cup. It's still, we know it's happened. We're very much aware it's happened. Come on, we've celebrated a million times over. Everybody else in the country is pig sick of us, which absolutely makes it even better because the more salty they are, the happier we get. So yeah, keep going, people. But you know what it is, all jokes aside, I've also spoken to a lot of people who are actually just really happy for us. So yeah, it's not everyone that hates Newcastle. It's just the wind-up merchants online or the Mackhams. So again, who cares, right? But yeah, and then we had the parade, which was just unreal. And if I'm honest, because I am the heathen that I am, I almost lived the entire final day all over again. All over again. And the fact that the Strawberry played the whole match all over again really did allow us to watch it and pretend that it was. And it was so weird being the typical Geordies that we are. Literally the whole pub were like, oh, like when things were happening. And then what blow the whistle at the end. Then we were like, well, no, we've won, man, shut up. Like everyone's just laughing at each other and stuff. And everyone was singing as if the match was on for real. And so, yeah, it was just like reliving the whole day over again. So it was Groundhog Day. It was a very good Groundhog Day,
very
though.
Good Groundhog Day. I must admit, I felt a bit lost without Newcastle the last 2 weeks. Just football in general. I am not a massive international lover, I'll be honest. It's not something it's not I don't like it. It's just not where my total love for football lies, really. I find international break quite boring. But yeah, so I've been a bit lost the last 2 weeks without our Newcastle United boys, but we're back. I would also love to know the statistic of Newcastle United fans that have rewatched the Wembley final. I would love to know the statistic of that.
And then the number of times.
Yeah, because I've watched the highlights and I'm still finding myself being really nervous. And I'm like, spoiler alert, we win the cup. Like, know what happens.
I know.
But I just want to touch on the fact, obviously, I was supposed to come up for the parade on Saturday. However, due to the insignificant train times, I couldn't make it work. And I couldn't drive and I was on holiday the next day. So I had to take the high road and stay at home, which is 3.5 hours away from Newcastle. So yeah, but I watched on TV, and I've got to be honest, I am just going to put it out there. It must be really, really boring, and I'm talking totally boring, being a fan of any other club that's not Newcastle United. Because have you ever seen a club celebrate a Carabao Cup like that in my life? And I am here for it.
I
Honestly,
know.
I'm here for it. And, you know, the amount of
Amazing.
stuff I've seen online of, obviously, like you said, people sick of us and they can't, like, how embarrassing, like, you're celebrating a Carabao Cup win. No, how embarrassing is it that you have no level passion for your club, that it's
Yeah.
embarrassing for you to watch another club celebrate it? Because
Yeah.
we're massive. We are massive. What was it? 300,000 Geordies just turned up for the parade?
It's unbelievable, man. What Eddie Howe was like, I didn't even know that many people lived in Newcastle.
I know.
I was like, all right, dude.
Crazy.
No, he's funny, man. But, you know, you go back to saying that, but a lot of people have been happy for us. It's just the keyboard warriors or anyone that's just salty and jealous and wants to just cry another river. But I loved what both Joe Hart and then Shearer said as well. But I think sometimes it's nicer for people outside of the club to say it, by the way. But when they turned around and they said, there's nothing like that first trophy, because Hart was with City, wasn't he, when they won their first
He
one,
was,
which,
yep.
if everyone remembers right, was not a Champions League, was not the league. In fact, was it the League Cup? Am I wrong, or was it the FA Cup?
I don't know if it was. I think it was the FA
Anyway,
Cup. Don't matter.
but the point is, it wasn't the Champions League. It wasn't the league, which they've gone on to win multiple times now. I appreciate that. But the point is, even he admitted, he says, nothing's like that first cup feeling. He says, because after that, it becomes just a bit more normal. And then the more and more you win, it is just the absolute norm. He says, but so the fans don't react the same. He said that the joy that they had on that day and the joy they saw in the fans' eyes never ever, it kind of got worse. And it's not sad to say, because I'll not be sad the next time we win another trophy, but we'll not see again that trophy parade.
Nope.
We'll
No.
not see that level of hype, that level of passion, because it's been too long. It's been far too long for Newcastle.
Well,
Let's
70
get real.
years.
But that's exactly it. So, like, yes, all right, we will probably have another parade at some point and we will line the streets, but it just won't have that extra edge that parade had. It's just as simple as that. And that's why, no matter what people want to say about us, that's why it's going to go on for weeks. And that's why we are going to milk the living hell out of this cup win. And if it wants to become the norm, brilliant. But yeah, to live through what we've lived through in the last couple of weeks as a Toon fan, people can say what they want, but they are not taking that away from us. Simple as that.
100%, and I completely agree. And this is why I was sat with my husband watching some of the parade, who unfortunately is a Liverpool fan, and I was just saying, like, I said the exact same what I said on here. It's been far too long. Like, the fans deserve it, the club deserves it, the players deserve it, and Eddie deserves it. And I'm not going to repeat what Bruno said on the stage, because his swear jar will be very
Too
full.
funny.
But they are all living legends. Just changing that one word that he did, something a bit more provocative. But yeah, they are living legends, and I love them all very dearly, and they all deserved it. And I wanted to say this on the last pod that we done, but unfortunately had a bit of technical difficulty. So before we break for the first pod, I just want to say to everyone that maybe is having a bit of a downer with their football club, no matter if it's in the Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, wherever you are on the football scale, just never give up on your football club. Never give up on your football club, because moments like this, so for example, Newcastle just won the Carabao Cup, show you how worth it is, and no one can put a price on the feeling that we are feeling right now. So never give up on your football club, because it is worth it in the long run. I can absolutely promise you that.
Well said.
Well said. Thanks, mate. Right. Preview party done. We are parade party is done. We are done with that. We are going to break for the first sponsor, which is from Bioniq, and then we'll be back with part 2, where we are going to give a review on our Brentford game yesterday.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements, designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimize your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Ken could read me a bedtime story. It's just
I
such a
know.
calming voice.
Isn't
For
it?
everyone listening, I will pop the link for Bioniq in our show notes in the episode, so you guys can grab that whenever you would like to take a look. Right, part 2. Joe, you were there last night. I was watching
Yeah.
from home. I say watching, I had to sort of listen on a radio station pretty much, and catch up online, because it wasn't shown on TV.
Obviously.
Obviously. So we played Brentford last night, and I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit nervous after the whole Wembley win, Carabao Cup
Yeah.
win, the parade. I thought, God, are we going to come back, and are we going to come back as the Newcastle that when we went? And we did. We got a 2-1 win, important 3 points, and I thought, job well done. We've had 10 games remaining. As it stood on Wednesday. Sorry, on what day is it today? Thursday. As it stood on Wednesday evening, we had 10 games remaining. God, guys, we had 10 games remaining, and we need to make every single one count on the way out to the end of the season to secure Champions League, and we got the 3 points. You were there, Joe. How was it, start to finish?
It was brilliant. I mean, the pre-match atmosphere was everything kind of we expected it to be, and the War Flags display was emotional. I kind of liked what they did there, but it was emotional because, especially the little
Sam Fender song.
banner. Yeah, but like some people might not know that was part of a Sam Fender song, but it was more the message behind it anyway, not the
100%.
relevance that I suppose that it was a Fender song, but any Fender fan would know. But more the point is, it was just because they're right. Like, how many people didn't get to see? They've waited, as we've talked about, for a domestic trophy 70 years, for a trophy full stop 56. So some people have went their whole life without seeing Newcastle win a trophy.
Yep.
And it is heartbreaking. Or they were very young, maybe. Like my dad, he was just a kid the last time they won a trophy. So it was an emotional one. And then obviously they had that great banner in the Gallagher for Howe, because he has made history. Get
Hero.
in.
Yep.
Obviously the other end had what I was trying to make out as being the trophy. It was the trophy, right? But I'll be honest, from the angle I was looking, I was like, that's not worked maybe as well with the flags. But the problem is with flags is you've got to have everybody waving them.
Yeah.
And if there's people missing, it's going to have patches on the thing. So it kind of looked great because there was a million flags flying, but it wasn't as evident as, I think it was obviously supposed to be the trophy. And
I
then
think
like
it was
maybe lines that was like highlighting the trophy, but I think it was too much. Maybe
Yeah.
they maybe should have just had the trophy. But hey, I'm not going to slag all flags because they are absolute gods in the flag game. If there's gods in flag games, that is. Because now I'm sounding ridiculous. But yeah, like match kicked off. Atmosphere was great at the time. The lads started well, I'll be honest, in my opinion. But after about 10-ish minutes, 10, 15 minutes, it just kind of seemed to lull a bit. They had a little bit of a chance. There wasn't too much happening. We had some decent chances, I think, in the first... was it Isaac's header? Was that like in the first couple of minutes or something?
First
from
2 minutes, I think it was,
cross? Yeah, so... And I'm sitting like right at the other end. So it's one of those that when it starts looping, you don't actually know where it's going. So all you're looking for is the net bulging. It didn't. So we play on sort of thing. So the first half was one of those where it started to go towards the end of the first half and we were just like, please don't let this peter out to be just a game that, I don't know. I wasn't scared of Brentford, which was weird. So it wasn't a game that I was thinking, oh man, we're going to lose this.
No.
It just seemed to like just peter out to a bit of nothing towards the end of the first half.
Yeah.
Then we scored, didn't we? So that made the stadium light up again, which I'm glad of, because not only did that, like, they were petering out a bit on the pitch, the fans did as well. Simple as that. The Brentford fans were nothing nor something, because they didn't make a sound really until they sang No Noise from the Saudi Boys when they scored, because obviously that's just the perfect song to sing, isn't it? Awesome. So we laughed at them.
Original.
Yeah, and we sang back for a bit, as you do. But yeah, I was never worried about losing the game. I was thinking at some point it might just peter out to be a draw. I'll be totally honest with you. I did see both teams scoring before, and I did say 2-1. However, again, banned myself from betting. So we wouldn't have won 2-1, if I had to put the bet on.
No, we wouldn't have.
But no, game overall, I'm happy with it, right? We've came back from the cup win. We are still on a high. I think you could see Bruno was, because Bruno wasn't at his best. I think that boy's still partying in his head. Bless his heart. But what I'm really impressed with, what I was really happy with yesterday, by the way, of the defence, Tino and Trips were outstanding, in my opinion. Byrne had a solid game. She had a solid game. So the defence as a whole,
Barnes
to me,
had
was
a
the best.
great game.
He did, yeah. But
yeah, I completely agree. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, mate.
No, go for it.
I do completely agree with everything you've said. I don't think there was really one player, probably other than Bruno, that looks slightly still worse for wear and probably still partying a little bit too much.
I mean, he probably is partying. He's rogue, isn't he? He's
He is
rogue
rogue.
as hell. I love
Well,
it.
he drinks Moretti, he eats spaghetti.
I think Bruno's been drinking too much Moretti and eating too much spaghetti. That's
I
the
agree. I think he's still partying, but they all just look. It's like the Newcastle that we've been speaking about for months. Where like, why don't they look like they know how to gel together? It's finally they seem to all be back in a great place together,
Mhm.
playing proper football, enjoying each other's. It's like brotherhood. They all just
They
look
are.
in tune with each other. Yeah, I completely agree with the back four. I can't really say much more on the back four than what we've already said, but they just time and time again, particularly like Tino, every time I backlash him, he just comes out and goes, "I'm going to prove you wrong." And for the last, obviously, whatever
So keep
games,
calling him, please.
yeah,
Just keep
for the
calling
last
him.
like 6-7 games he's played, he's had a blinder. I'm like, oh, God, typical. Yeah, and then, but I do think Harvey Barnes, when I don't know if maybe I've not been online much, but I thought he went a little bit unnoticed in
Yeah,
yesterday's
I
game.
agree.
I just thought he had a really good game, and there was a chance where Isak should have squared it to Harvey Barnes and didn't, and you could visibly see how angry Harvey Barnes was with him.
Well,
And
it
I
was
just thought,
when Barnes scored, wasn't it? And then obviously it was
yeah,
offside, but he should have squared it. He was a bit greedy there. Let's get real.
he
He took
was a
that
bit
extra
greedy.
touch to get it back on his right, and I think, dude, you literally could have just knocked it along to him.
Exactly.
Was he looking? Was he aware that Barnes was there? But surely he should have seen him in his peripheral. But
Well,
whatever. He
it's
didn't.
easy
So
for us to sit here and say when we've watched it on TV, like, you should have passed it.
obviously we're
But
ex-professionals, right?
yeah, and it's like, yeah, and it's still nice to see, even when we're in the lead or have got an upper hand on a game, the players get frustrated when
Yeah.
things. It is nice to see that. So yeah, I thought he had a really great game. And I just think we need to touch on something quite significant that happened in the game. Michael touched on it in his post match review. If you haven't listened to that, that went straight up after the game on Wednesday night. So go ahead and listen. Yes, we need to talk about Sandro Tonali.
Yeah.
Did he mean it, or did he not mean it? Because I'm just gonna put it out there. That for me is the goal of the season. To score from that angle, by the way, is insane.
Yeah.
That for me is the goal of the season. I am going to touch on Isak's goal, but I need to touch on Sandro Tonali's goal.
Yeah.
That for me is the goal of the season. And the question that's probably milling around in everyone's head: did he mean it? Did he mean it?
You know why it won't be goal of the season, right?
Oh,
A, because it wasn't scored by the likes of Salah. And
yeah,
B, because he's far too humble and he came out and he said, well, it was 70% cross and 30% shot. And I'm like, I've watched that back countless times today, more times than I should have, and while I should have been working. But, things happen. And, like, I've watched it from any angle I could possibly find online. And I'm like, dude, if that was any form of a cross, why have you put your lasers through it? Because all it would have happened if that was a cross, it was going to shoot straight across and out for like a throw in or like goal kick or something, because nobody's getting on the end of a bullet
no,
like
no,
that.
no,
And if
no,
you
no,
are, you're
no.
getting knocked out. You're not scoring on the end of it. Like, and
Alan
I'm
Shearer wouldn't
thinking,
have put
hang
his
on.
head on the end of that. If that was in back in Alan Shearer,
No,
there's no chance. It
but
was
did you
so
see
powerful.
Tonali? Did you see when you do that video where they're walking back to the changing room and they're all like, oh, and woo, and
And he
Bruno
went,
does his usual, and he did that
yeah,
because he puts his laces through it, so he knows, but the guy's too humble. And I must
stay
read
humble.
something out that my dad sent us. Stay humble. He does too humble in my eyes, but never mind.
I agree.
I'll have to read out what my dad sent me before, because he's retired, so he's probably watched it way more than I have today. So I'll read his exact text. He said, not having all this false modesty from Sandro mind. I've watched it 100 times now, and he absolutely meant it, unless his techniques is show bleep, which it's obviously not. He thought it was a good idea to smash across with his instep as opposed to side foot, which you'd use for a cross. Modest or genius? I like that text from my dad, because I just went, Dad, I'm with you on this analysis all the way.
Yeah, I
Because,
totally agree.
yeah. So the more you watch it, and I think Tonali needs to watch it back, by the way, because I think when you're in the moment, because he wouldn't have seen it back, would he, when he did that interview? I think when he's in the moment and he did the strike, he's not going to understand, I think. But yeah, stop being so damn humble, man. Take it. Will you just please take it? It was brilliant. and I could watch it over and
Unbelievable.
over again forever.
It was unbelievable, and I'm here for it. I feel very lucky that we have someone like Sandro Tonali on our football team, and I also feel very lucky that we have Alexander Isak on our football team, because I just want to touch on the fact he is now, I think I read somewhere, I hope I got this right, the first player to score 20 plus goals back to back.
For Newcastle,
for Newcastle, sorry, yeah, not ever. Because
But for us, that's all that matters, right?
For us, that's what matters.
That's what we're talking about.
What an absolute dreamboat. I don't think we need to touch more on the game, really, because I think Michael previewed it. Getting them mixed up. Michael reviewed it straight away last night, and then obviously I was thinking this morning. Unless there's anything else that you would like to touch on.
The only thing I'll say about Isak's goal is Murphy, Isak, again.
Yes,
obviously.
Thank you. Yes. How did I forget to
the perfect pairing.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know I'm going to bring it up. Come on.
Obviously,
you probably just let me go. And Mbeumo slipped because he wants to help out his future club. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, he's coming to us in the summer after a big summer spending.
Massive. We need to throw all the money at him, and so yeah. But as much as he can come and be Murphy's understudy for a bit, and then Murphy will teach him the way, and then
Agreed.
I'll stop being silly now.
Agreed. No, it's fine. Also, I don't know what social media all of our listeners has, but obviously the content team for Newcastle United's been 10 out of 10. And they put up a video of Will Osula yesterday at the parade after our win against Brentford. I need to be Will Osula's friend. I need him to take me on a night out because
he's all the fun.
He is. He is someone that I need to be friends with because he looks so fun. And I'm going to leave that there. If no one has seen it, get onto YouTube, TikTok, and just type in Will Osula. He's an absolute vibe. Joe, our second sponsor from Zencastr, please.
Cool. Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing. That automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast. It sounds great and it's delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Got there in the end. You can tell we've not done this in a while.
practice.
Every time. Right. So, like we say, parade, everything's done, party's over, back full into Premier League action to hopefully secure some Champions League football for next season. We need them nights back at St James's Park. So we've had Brentford, got the 3 points, 9 games remaining. We are now on to Monday night football. Is it Monday night or Sunday?
Monday, check. Yeah.
Monday night. We're now on to Monday night football with a trip to Leicester. Last time we played Leicester was in December. I sat next to Ian and we were cautiously watching his bet as I think Jacob Murphy scored, and we literally nearly lost it because we thought he'd put the bet on for Jacob Murphy to score, and he hadn't. And we beat them 4-0 just before Christmas. So, yeah, we're now taking a trip to Leicester, which is round the corner from me, really. So we are currently sitting in 5th place on 50 points with a game in hand over the likes of Manchester City, who sit just a place above us and 1 point difference. And they've obviously they've had Haaland, I believe, from Ian's message, ruled out for a couple of weeks. And we are facing Leicester, who are, I feel bad saying this about Leicester, but they aren't having the best of seasons. Currently sat in 19th on 17 points, and they have lost their last 7 Premier League games and not scored in one of those. The last time they scored a goal was in their FA Cup 4th round against Man United, and they lost that 2-1. So, not overall, I don't mean to laugh, sorry guys, but not an overall good look for Leicester. And I really like Leicester as a club. I am going to be honest. I've said it before. I really like them as a club. I think they're great. I love their owners. And obviously, when they won the Premier League in 2016, it was such a vibe. Here for the underdogs. So the fact that they are probably likely to get relegated makes me a little bit sad. However, I don't support Leicester, so I support Newcastle.
Nope.
So let's get into that. How are we feeling going into the game?
I mean, come on, we've got to feel good, surely. Leicester have got to be pretty nervous, and if we had any form of crossover with any of the Leicester guys, I would have been amazed if they expected anything but a loss. And I'm not being nasty there. I'm just being honest. However, it is not a given that we will win. And
Of course not.
Us as Toon fans, all jokes aside, never go into any game with 100% confidence. You've always got that in the back of your head. And things can go wrong. Leicester could somehow, I say somehow again, that sounds awful, but again, they could somehow win. The odds are stacked against them, aren't they, really? And to me, the bottom three are now going to be going down. It's as simple as that. Probably in that order as well. It will be Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton. I can't see, there's like a 9-point difference between Ipswich and Wolves. I just can't see that being made up at all anyway. I know Ipswich won like last night, but I think it's too little too late, I'll be honest. And Leicester just don't seem to have anything left in them. They may have, in their heart of hearts, given up already. We're on a high. We are, as simple as that. Not just the cup. We are doing well in the league. We're in a Champions League position. I believe we can finish in a Champions League position. I'm feeling very confident about that, I've got to be honest.
Same.
I said it last night and I'll say it again. I want the top four to be, in any particular order, Leicester, Arsenal, us and Forest. That would be a good order, to be fair.
That'd be a good order,
But yeah, what I did joke about, though, Forest are actually only 4 points behind Arsenal. I would find it hilarious if Forest nicked second of Arsenal. Yeah. And it was a realistic, say, Liverpool, Forest, Arsenal, us. I'm happy with fourth, I'll be honest, because fourth, third, not getting much difference apart from a little bit more in the bank, but our owners don't need that tiny little bit more in the bank. So yeah, if we make Champions League, fantastic. But a win against Leicester surely is a must. And I said it again last night, and I'll say it again now. If we can't beat the likes of Leicester away, we don't really deserve Champions League football. I've always had that kind of attitude. We must be taking these teams to the sword, and it's as simple as that. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This is a game where I would expect us to win and not hopefully go down there and struggle. We're sitting in fifth. Obviously, I've just said they're sitting in 19th. It's obviously a bit of a difference. Table-wise and also probably player quality-wise. I'm not saying Leicester are totally terrible, but when it comes to team sheets, I think ours just about tops it, to be honest. So this is a game that, like you say, these are the games that Eddie Howe is going to be looking at and thinking these are the ones that we can't chuck away on the lead up to the end of the season and Champions League qualification. Yeah. I'm going to put it out there. I think we're going to go down there. We're going to win. We beat them 4-0 at St. James Park just before Christmas. I think it was 4-0 or 4-1. I fully probably expect the same result, to be honest. And I actually do think, I don't think we're going to see much change from the team going forward for the rest of the season now. I think Eddie's probably found his maybe perfect starting 11. Obviously, I know Anthony Gordon, I think that came out yesterday that he's got a bit of bruising and stuff around his thigh or something.
It seems quite up in the air with him, doesn't it? Because reports that he's been in full training, but then also that Eddie came out and said he had quite severe bruising around his thigh area. So it's like,
is he
playing on Monday or not? Well,
we don't know.
Chances are a lot of them did. Yeah. So, but yeah.
So
sorry,
don't really know. No, it's okay. Don't really know what's going on with him. But I think Eddie's probably found his perfect starting 11, and I think we won't see too much change from that between now and the end of the season. Obviously, hoping no more further injuries. I don't think we'll see Sven Botman now until next season, which makes me ridiculously sad.
I don't really want to. I think we need to let him. Rest. No, not a bad thing. I want him to get better.
Got my Sven Botman card here that you got for my birthday.
Oh no! Oh, love it. No, I don't want to see him in the right way. I'm not being mean to him at all here. I want the kid to get better.
Me too.
I say kid, he's not a kid, but he kind of is. But you know what I mean? We rushed him back last time. We've complained about the fact that we rushed him back last time. So how about this time we don't? We just see out this season. We can survive and we can play without him. Let's just let him get better.
Yeah. That is pretty much it. I think all we have left to do is drumroll our score predictions for Monday. You go first.
I don't think the boys haven't given any. Did Michael give one last night at the end of the thing? I don't think he did.
I can't remember. I don't think he did.
To be fair, we are doing another pod on Sunday, which will be released on Monday morning, so we might do some predictions then. I'll leave the boys for them. We'll not guess. We know what Ian will say, but we'll let him say it physically, because he loves it.
Yeah. Haven't heard it in 2 weeks.
It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's. I'm going to go 3-0 for this one.
Oh, I thought you were going to nick Ian's one then.
Oh God, no! Like I would dare. Are you kidding?
3-0. I'm going for the same result as before Christmas. I'm going for a 4-0. I'm going for an Alexander
Nice.
Isak 2 goals. I'm actually going for a Bruno 1 goal. And who else? Don't know.
Murphy.
Tonali, maybe? Don't know. Murphy, no, yeah. We'll go with Murphy. That's my score prediction. 4-0, 3-0. We'll let the boys do theirs on Sunday. You said you're recording, so that'll be released
I think
on Monday.
I'm on with Ian and Kev, yeah. So yeah,
Lovely.
cool.
That's it, guys. Sorry, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. We've tried to cover everything we possibly could in 30 minutes. Yeah, all our sponsors will be popped in the show notes, so be sure to check out any links. And we will be back on Monday with another episode. So be sure to listen then.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.